Begin recording.
Yes.
Okay.
So let's see, we have, okay, I think Jan's on, Jan can hear us. Okay, good. All right. So let's start with, I got my gavel, call the meeting to order. Welcome everybody to our September Oak Park MAC meeting. Our last meeting was in June, so welcome. And let's start with the flag salute. Supervisor, would you like to lead us in the flag salute?
Certainly. Will you please join me in the salute to the flag? Thank you for having it, Seema. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United
States
States
of America
and to the republic
for which it
stands, one nation,
under God,
Dear God.
indivisible,
indivisible,
with liberty and justice for all.
For all.
Right. Thank you, Supervisor.
There we go.
Thank you.
There's Alon.
Okay, Alon, oh, he's connecting. Okay, excellent. All right, great. As we're waiting for Alon to come on, the other members of the MAC, have you had a chance to, of course, I'm sure you did, to look at the agenda?
yes.
And is there any changes or are we ready to adopt? Alon, can you hear us?
He's
He's connecting.
still connecting.
I was gonna give him a, so Jane, are you okay with the way we have the agenda today?
Yes, I move to adopt the agenda as written.
I second the motion.
Okay, let's see. So all those in favor, Vanice, do you have to do roll call for that?
I will do roll call. Seema Chandra,
Aye.
Alon Glickstein. Oh, he's still connecting. I'll come back to him. Janice is not there. Jane Nye,
Yes.
JL Diaz,
Yes.
and well, we're still connecting with Alon. Let's see what's going on here.
Well, we have a quorum, right?
Yes.
Hold on, okay.
Looks like you said.
I'm asking him to, I think I had to merge him. Alon, are you there? Can you? Alon?
Hello, everyone.
There we
Can you
go.
hear me?
Hi, Alon.
Yay.
Okay.
Okay,
Hi.
we
All
just,
right.
Sorry, I got a computer I'm using that doesn't have a camera on it and everything, so I gotta call in and I gotta do the screen so I can see you guys. So I don't know
Right.
how it works.
I merged you, so I got you.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
so Alon, we just did a motion to adopt the agenda and it was seconded. So it's, do you approve to adopt the agenda?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, great. The agenda has been adopted. So moving on, now we'll move on to the meeting minutes from our last meeting on June 18th. Anybody have any comments on the meeting minutes?
I do.
Jane, go ahead.
I request that we add a public comment to the June 18th meeting minutes. Nini Tu and William Liu presented a new proposal to add water lilies to Medea Creek to beautify our community. That was not included in the public comments under their name.
Okay. Yes, I recall that we had a good discussion with them on the water lilies. So I guess we make a motion then to include that in the minutes. Is that right, Linda? We make a
Well,
motion.
I could make a motion to approve the draft minutes with the update, with the addition.
Yes.
If there's nothing else to be added.
Okay, and JL or Alon, do you have anything else to add to the minutes?
No,
I'm good.
I'm good
So-
too.
So is there a second?
I'm
I
good.
made a motion to approve the draft minutes with the update.
I'll second that motion. Okay, all those in favor? Denise will call your name.
Seema Chandra,
Aye.
Alon Glickstein,
Aye.
JLDS,
Yes.
Jane Nye.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we approve the minutes with the amended part that Jane just mentioned. So thank you. And now we'll move on to the public safety reports. I think we have the sheriff's office here.
Yeah,
Great. Who's on today?
Deputy Sherimonte.
Hello, Sheriff. Thank you for
How
coming.
are you? Good. Am I too close or too far?
We don't
And
see.
just enough.
We don't see.
I mean, the voice, your microphone. I think
You
we're
have no
good.
picture, huh?
No picture. We hear you well, but we don't see your.
Okay. Um, Not a whole lot to report over the past couple months. There's still ongoing thefts from vehicles, different neighborhoods, people leaving their cars unlocked. We have all kinds of different types of people and perpetrators that come through, homeless, drug addicts, gang members, all different types of people checking door handles at night. Regardless of the neighborhood, lock your car, set your alarms. Kind of new to the Oak Park area, we've had some thefts of catalytic converters, which is I guess an engine part on the bottom of vehicles that when cut off, these crooks can sell them and make some good profit. So if you see any suspicious people laying under cars or cutting things under cars, you definitely want to look into that, call it in. Our volunteers in policing, as you know, through COVID, haven't been out there. I think they stopped in February. So only January and February of this year, they were out there. And I couldn't tell you when they're coming back. And that's it.
Oh, okay. So the volunteers in policing, so that program is on hold temporarily till we're through.
Yeah, I think they're being reimbursed. They're just being charged for the service for January and February of 2020.
Oh, okay. So we should see that savings in our.
Yeah, I'm not sure how all that works, but that's what I was told. Maybe reimbursement. I don't know if it's prepaid or how you guys do that stuff, but.
Do you know Supervisor Parks?
Not personally, but I've met her several times.
No. I'm asking her. She knows how our budget will be reimbursed.
Ah,
Oh, wait. Oh, wait. Unmute.
She's mute. Yeah, okay.
And then I was going to ask Jan if she would like to pipe in here.
Jan.
Is Jan's there?
She's here.
She's
Oh,
here,
Oh, yes.
and she's not muted.
Venice, I think Jane wants to say something.
Yeah, you should be able to
Thank you.
unmute.
I can't. You unmuted me. I can't unmute
What if-
myself anymore.
Oh,
I was able to in the beginning, but I'm not now. It's the same with the crossing guards, Seema. My understanding is that we're not being charged either way
okay.
for either service.
Service either. I mean, I wish we were having all this, but since we're not, then it's might as well be, not charged. So, okay. All right. Anybody else? Any questions for our deputy? No. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for coming on to our meeting.
no problem. You guys have a good day.
Thank you.
Right. Bye-bye.
And do we have anyone from the CHP here?
I don't see anyone.
I don't think we do today. Okay. So we probably won't have a report today on that. All right. And next we'll go on to comments. Comments from Supervisor Parks.
Okay. I want to go ahead and welcome. We have our Real Estate Services Chuck Alvarez in the meeting with us, as well as Valeria Lopez. We also have our Public Works, Deborah Cavaletto, that can help answer some questions for you. And I think Captain Renee Ferguson was planning on attending, so we'll see if she might come in shortly.
Okay.
Oh,
And then just kind of updates on COVID-19. We have been working pretty diligently in trying to ensure that we can get off the list of the monitoring list. And right now we're considered purple. We're trying to get to red and then we go to colors now. But basically the one metric we can't meet is trying to keep the number of new cases to 60 or below daily. And that has been a difficult one for us to meet. But we have been doing really well recently. And I think if things go the way they are, for example, we're now like in the 50s, but you have to do it for a good week or two. I think we could get into the red, and then that will allow for some openings of things that aren't open. For example, places that have less than some assemblies like churches, for example, with less than 100 people, and some things, gyms and others can be in that list too. So we're trying to get to that. I'm real interested to see if the numbers start to spike again because of the Labor Day weekend, but hopefully not, and we'll continue. And good to see Orange County, for example, being able to get into that next lower tier, into the red instead of the purple. Our county has also been putting forward a lot of money that we've been receiving through the CARES Act from the federal government. And with that, we've been able to house a lot of people who are homeless. We've been able to give out $5,000 grants to all businesses that qualify, which is a pretty easy metric after they fill out their paperwork. So that's good to see, to help our local economy, help try to continue to see that we don't lose more jobs. So that's a big benefit. Additionally, we have our elections division working hard. They're opening up a lot of potential voting places where you can drop off your ballot. And so you can go to the elections website to see where they are. And I know that they're going to be providing a whole list, if you go to their website, of places where you can drop off your ballot. But already we are experiencing some 70% of the electorate is voting by mail anyway. So I don't think we're seeing any problems. And I'm glad that elections is also making more places for people to drop off their ballot if people prefer to do that than putting them in the mail. I also was able to read some updates about the Oak Park Library and a program that they have that has been really encouraging youth to read, and just there are incentives, and the winners are just wonderful to read about. Reading 1,000 hours, these kids just really getting into it and getting those books and reading. So that's nice to see, and the ability to get electronic books through the library is nice also. I'm going to be doing a town hall webinar. That's what they are now. It's called Empowerment, and with the word power nice and big. It's a town hall. Senator Stern is going to be there too, and it's tomorrow at 5 p.m. And you can register for that, and we'll put a link on our webpage. It's also on my Facebook and all, but I'll read it to you. It's www.ilrc.
I can share it.
Yes. Oh, good. And ILRC stands for Independent Living Resource Centers. So I don't know if you can see it, but it's www.ilrc-trico.org/PSPS. And what it is talking about how to deal with PSPSs, the power shutoffs that Southern California Edison is doing. So our county's Office of Emergency Services, myself, Senator Stern, and Southern California Edison will do presentations and then answer questions with an emphasis on how to deal with those emergencies. And it has become quite timely, as you all know. Edison is starting to do more of these shutoffs. Next week, I guess actually tomorrow and later today, they're expecting windy conditions and anticipating doing more shutoffs to avoid wildfires specifically. Previously, I know there was some concern that there wasn't enough energy on the grid, but I know customers are really good at reducing their energy use, so that assisted tremendously, but still we did have a few thousand people in my district who lost power. Other items, we have a general plan update that we're, as you know, completing. Our Board of Supervisors did approve it at our meeting on September 1st, and we'll be finalizing it one more time so we could all have it into one document. It was like several elements, each element was separate. So that's coming back to us on September 15th for the final adoption. And it includes some very strong climate action measures, among other things, that I'm happy for when you talk about the conditions that we're having with all these wildfires, which are certainly part of the whole issue of climate change and the need to go to clean energy. One of the things we're doing is requiring greater setbacks between oil wells and schools and oil wells and residences to protect the health of our population, essentially. I also participated in some hearings on Santa Susana Field Lab. I think you may be aware of those too, where the state was looking at, or actually it was NASA was looking at having the entire 2,800 acres of Santa Susana Field Lab declared a national monument, essentially, archaeological site, because of there are some Chumash archaeological artifacts. And while the most important artifacts there, the caves, Burrow Flat caves, are already protected by the National Registry. They did get the support from the state's Cultural Heritage Board to make the whole 2,800 acres a protected archaeological national monument, essentially. And so now the National Park Service will decide whether they should do it or not. And the concern that our Board of Supervisors had was that that was a way to avoid cleanup. And we want to make sure that cleanup is done first and foremost to protect people's safety. And I think that completes my comments. If you have any, I know that you have some items coming up on your future meeting agenda, right? And we can get to that later on in the meeting as it arises, but we have had some suggestions on things to add to the next agenda, including, I think Alon and Janice both wanted to have surveillance cameras at the entrances to Oak Park. So we can consider that if you want that on the agenda for a future agenda. And then also, I know that we have had some issues where pine trees particularly have been uprooting people's sidewalks and their backyard walls and in their private property, causing tripping hazards. And so when that occurs, we consider that for the most part a public safety issue. You know, people can hurt themselves, and so they have been routinely taken out. I know that there's heightened concern about removal of trees, but also we don't want to end up getting sued on trip and falls if we let these things continue. And it is our responsibility in some of these instances, right?
Right.
And that I think completes my comments. I was delighted to see the article about our youth in Oak Park, 11 years old, right, coming to the MAC and asking about more trash cans. And from that, we've actually looking at, through the Oak Park Unified School District, doing a volunteer program on trash pickup and some other items I think you guys will hear about today. That concludes my comments, unless there are any further questions.
Yeah, I had a comment, Supervisor, about the voting and the drop-off. I don't know, you saw my email. They didn't have a single drop-off location for Oak Park. So.
And we did pass that on to elections, so I'm hoping that they will consider that. That was a really good suggestion.
Yeah, the closest was the City Hall in Thousand Oaks, which is, you know,
yes,
far from here. So
you can drop off your ballot. You can drop off at a in-person voting site, which is at Oak Park High School. So you can drop off your ballot there as well. Even though it's not a it's not a drop-off site, you can always walk it in to the in-person location, which is at the high school. and drop
On
it off
election
there.
day, right?
Yeah, the
On election
registrar
day.
said that's correct. You can do that.
Mhm.
Okay, maybe-
But what we were hoping for is to have these boxes available before election day also. And
It's
so
open October 31st through November. The
Good.
in-person site is open from October 31st to November 3rd
thank you, Jane.
at the high
Excellent.
school.
Good to know.
Maybe we can advertise that though, because like maybe people don't realize they can just drop off a ballot and not have to do in-person voting there.
Good idea. We might be able to put that on our message signs, right?
Oh, yeah, that would be good. Okay,
Okay.
we could do that.
You drop off a ballot instead of mailing. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
Okay.
can fill it out yourself at home and then walk it in. Yes.
One more thing, Supervisor, is, yeah, I saw that today Orange County got moved to the lower tier, to the red one. And I was surprised because I thought, Ventura County had been doing so well. Overall, we have been doing great. So I was surprised to see that. Any reason why we're having more trouble?
I know we're a much smaller county, so you would think that we'd be able to, but when we have some peaks, some spikes, it really affects our numbers. So for example, farm worker housing, we've had some spikes there. And just recently, our county is going, there's been some wild parties going on that we're now going after too, that people are renting houses to have these parties and such. So, but I think it's mostly the fact that when we do have a spike, it's very well affects our numbers. I know that they don't count prisoners though, and we are now having a spike in our prisons too. But I think that's probably the biggest one. Just having a few spikes, farm worker housing and long-term care facilities really impacts our numbers. But they are definitely going in the right direction. Like I said, we're like in the low 50s, and we can just keep that up. I'm thinking if we can keep that up till next week, so that's when the Labor Day numbers will start coming in. We may be able to get to the next tier.
Okay. All right, great. Thank you. Okay, I guess then we'll move on. Do we have any public comments, Vanice, do you know?
I haven't had any emailed to me.
Okay, and I don't think we have anybody here today giving us a public comment. Okay, all right. We'll move on to council comments. I'll start with JL. Do you have any comments, JL?
No comment.
Okay, great, thank you. Alon?
Nothing. All I have to add is that because CHP wasn't here, that there was some trailers parked by themselves on Canaan, and the CHP went over there, spoke to the homeowner, and also eventually when they repeated the situation, they cited them. So that's just something that happened. But other than that, nothing else to report.
Okay, great. I know Jane has several. Jane, I think I'll just go quickly before you. I only have a couple, and then you can have you can go on with all your comments. I just wanted to congratulate the Oak Park community for saving the ash tree at May Boyer Park. I know they went through a lot to do that, and the community spoke up, and and they persevered, and they saved that tree. So just want to congratulate everyone on that. And my second comment was, I think maybe Supervisor might know this, about the LED lights we had discussed last time. I did notice that I think now all of Oak Park has been done, at least all the streets I've been looking at now have all the new LED lights. Is there any update on that, Supervisor? Where did Supervisor? Linda, do you have any comments on the LED lights? Not sure she's hearing me. Okay.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I had to go to a call. So your question is, what's the status of the LED lights?
Yeah, well, every street I've been looking at looks like they've all been updated now. And I know last time we were discussing it about the different issues with the lights. So has a project been completed?
Chuck Alvarez might be able to answer that question for you, but we didn't ask them to stop the project after getting your thoughts on it.
Okay, so maybe when we have Chuck Alvarez speak. Okay,
And I will have to step away a minute for another call. Sorry, but I'll be back.
Okay, thanks. Okay, we can talk to Chuck. Okay, that was it for my comments. Go ahead, Jane.
So I have 9 comments. I'm gonna submit them in writing so Jan can add them to our meeting minutes. I'm not gonna read everything I have, but I did want to point out the trash story in the Acorn, and William Liu had come to us in February and asked us to investigate the amount of trash on Canaan Road. So I volunteered with the transportation department to do an audit, trash audit. So for the month of August, I walked from Lindero to Deer Hill twice a week and document how much trash there was. One day I picked up 2 full garbage bags of trash. I also took photographs and kept an Excel spreadsheet of what I found. There's quite a bit of trash on Canaan, just in that 3-mile area. And so I submitted it to Lisa McCullough, and the environmental resource analyst in the water and sanitation department of the Public Works group. And we were questioning whether adding trash cans, which is what William Liu had requested, adding 4 trash cans along that stretch. In general, most of the trash appears to be discarded from cars traveling on Canaan, and so adding trash cans wouldn't make a difference. Lisa at the Water and Sanitation Department and I've discussed it, and we would like to hear from the MAC on their points of view. I have all the detailed analysis that I came up with, but it appears that most of it is discarded either by bicyclists, a lot of empty water bottles and power bar wrappers. I don't know whether they'd stop and discard it in a trash can. The trash cans, for the month, I checked them twice a week, and they were less than a quarter full whenever I checked them. They were not being utilized, but there was trash on the ground. So that's something we need to follow up on. We have an option of either recommending that we add trash cans, 2 to 4 trash cans on Canaan, or whether we use transportation's Adopt a Road program. And I think Supervisor Parks mentioned whether the school district would do that. We put a sign up and saying that Oak Park Unified School District adopted Canaan, and then they would work with the county on picking up the trash. So it's something that we can bring up in a future meeting, I guess.
Maybe we can also do a little more PR on that, like maybe on our Oak Park signs. You know, maybe for a few weeks we can say, please help keep Oak Park clean. You know, don't throw like a litter, don't throw your litter out. I mean, you know, just trying to get people to be aware of it more.
Yeah, there are a lot of people walking on Canaan, and you know, people probably thought I was homeless picking up all the trash and things, but you know, I think in general, because of the COVID issue, people are reluctant to pick up things that they would normally see and pick up. So I agree, but if it's being discarded from a car or from a bicyclist, I'm not sure the answer. So I think it deserves some discussion. Also, I wanted to follow up on Nini Two's and William Liu's request to add water lilies to Medea Creek. After the June meeting, I contacted Dan Paranek and Wayne Nakadoka from RSRPD, and we responded. Jan sent a message from Wayne on to William and Nini. In general, adding it to Medea Creek is not a good idea, and it wouldn't be safe for the young students to do that themselves. But Wayne recommended that the water lilies be added to the community pond. And so I don't know whether the young kids have followed up on the recommendation, but he gave them a name to contact as well.
Okay.
So that's something we can look forward about in the future. I got a message from Glenn Karpinski about Brookside. There was a curb that was a trip hazard, and the work was completed by Oak Park Unified School District. They painted the curb. Right. It was completed by Brendan Callahan in maintenance and operations, so that was done. I also got, or Jan forwarded a complaint about lost cat flyers being posted all over Oak Park. It was sent to Supervisor Park's office on August 20th, and I removed most of the ones that I saw after they were posted out there for several weeks. And one of the things that I thought it would be another future topic is to consider whether we want to add a Thousand Oaks-like service where they have people that come along and remove garage sale signs, posters, and flyers. It's a budget discussion, but it's an option.
Oh, they pay somebody to do that?
There's a service that Thousand Oaks uses to ensure their city is clean at all times.
Okay, maybe that's a good future agenda item.
And then I had a request from Erica Carrick on August 22nd for replacing 2 Conifer Street signs. They're peeling and difficult to read. She posted on Nextdoor and I followed up, and she submitted a request via the Public Works app. And I had previously recommended that because I had submitted one for Smoke Tree, and the Public Works Department fixed that immediately. It was incredible. They said it's just a kind of an overlay. It's easy to replace. And they completed that. So she's followed up on that. And then I just want to report that Ventura Public Works also added a pedestrian crossing sign on August 23rd near Deer Hill and Poppy View. We had a resident that requested that, and it got completed. And then on the Verizon cell tower, that was approved by the planning director and appealed by resident David Lilly. He had come to one of our meetings. It was upheld by the Planning Commission on August 27th. So we thought that was off the table, but Verizon filed an appeal, and it'll be going to the Board of Supervisors as a final hearing. And we don't have a date for that yet. And then I have 2 more topics. The Triumpho and Las Virgenes Pure Water demo facility. There's a ribbon cutting ceremony tomorrow. And Seema, you're speaking?
Friday. Yes, I am.
Correct. And so 140 people have been invited, and there's an additional 500 spots for public Zoom call-ins. So the demo facility will start giving tours in October, and you can either get a Zoom tour, a virtual tour, or you can go in person. I took a tour in person and sampled the water last week, and it was really impressive. So I'm really a proponent of the new facility. It'll really help communicate what's going on to our residents. And then finally, I just had the same topic of the elections and the vote by mail drop box, but I wanted to assure that everybody could actually use the in-person location at the high school to drop off their ballot. That was confirmed by the registrar of voters. And we have 3 people running for 2 seats. So I'm running, Seema's running, and we have a new candidate, Maria Susai, running.
That's right.
So go out and vote.
Yes.
That's it for me. Thank you.
All right, great. Thank you, Jane, for all your thorough comments. All right, we'll move on to written communications. Anybody, I have a couple, but does anybody else have any written communications on the board, on our Mac? No, Alon?
No, I have no written communications.
Okay, so first was I also just wanted to say from the Oak Park librarian, she couldn't come today. She might come to our next meeting, but she just wanted to report that from the summer reading program that Supervisor Parks, I think, was talking about too, that they had 12 grand prizes, and that Oak Park had 25% of the winners. So I guess 3 out of the 12 were from Oak Park. And so that was really nice to hear. And she's going to come on next meeting to give us some more updates on the summer program and the upcoming fall program. So we'll look forward to hearing from the librarian, Rose Galvez. Then I also received a written communication from an alumni of Oak Park High School named Amanda Riley. And they wrote a letter to Oak Park Union School District, and they wanted to make the Oak Park MAC aware of it. And the letter was to Dr. Knight and Mr. Buchanan, and it was to take action against systemic anti-Blackness and racism at the school district and at the high school. They had over 400 signatures from current and former students. And so she forwarded me a copy of the letter so that she wanted me to present it to the MAC. So I can send the letter on to Jan, and she can forward it to all of you if you'd like to read it. And this was a couple months ago, but we haven't had a MAC meeting, so couldn't bring it up. It was during the height of Black Lives Matter, and so these students were concerned, and they wrote, many of them wrote testimonials about issues they felt they had faced during their time at Oak Park schools. So I just let her know that it's, something that I'm glad she let us know that they're doing this, but it's not really in our jurisdiction, but it's something good to be aware of that so many of them felt this way. So I will send a copy of the letter to Jan for any of you who would like to read that letter. Okay, I think that was it from written communications. We'll move on to advisory matters. Let's see, should we go ahead and start with the budget then first?
Hi, this is Chuck Albert, Manager of Real Estate Services for Public Works.
Hi, Chuck.
I have with me Deborah Cavaletto, who's the Fiscal Services Manager for the Public Works Agency. And she can either do a quick budget presentation for you or answer any specific questions that you have.
Do you want me to pull up the document for you?
Sure, yeah, that would help Denise. So do MAC members, you want her to go through the budget quickly again to remind ourselves from last meeting?
Yes, let's do that.
Okay.
Okay.
So as you see with, let's see, on the first page, it'll show what the column for FY21 recommended requested budget. And as you'll see, we do have our basic budget where we have estimated revenue of $936,000 roughly that will be, we believe, will be collected through property tax and our special assessment. We're going to be using roughly $300,000 to help fund the expenses that we are projecting that we'll be doing for FY21. The one that I want to focus on, of course, is we added this year in the budget, but will not be spent at this time, is the Oak Park Green Streets retrofit. We put appropriations in there of $24,000. However, it needs to be reviewed if LAFCO, this fund or the service area is allowed to do such a project, and if so, then must come back to the MAC for review. Other than that, we have your basic costs always with the landscape, water, Canaan shuttle. You need some money for the elections, volunteering, of course, volunteering policing program. And this will be, again, it was presented to, recommended budget was presented to the board on September 1st, and will be going to, again, to the board as was, I believe, on the 14th of September. So if you have questions.
So where do you show savings for the crossing guards and the VIP?
Looking on the savings on what page are you looking on?
So those expenses for this year, right? That we will not be incurring.
Correct.
And so how are you presenting that for fiscal year 21 if we're not spending that this year?
For the one for the 24,000, we have it in there as the budget, but if it does not get spent, because this is again a budget, we can say landscaping.
No, not the 24,000, not the retrofit. It's more of the savings for the crossing guard, because we're not using them right now.
And VIP.
And the VIP, correct.
Okay, so what'll happen is this, again, this is a budget. If we do not spend it, we had it, this is before we predicted or we understood that we would have issue regarding COVID. So it is just a budget as such, but it will not, whatever is not used, we're billed for, will not be spent.
Okay.
So
Are we going to see a savings in the shuttle also, the Canaan shuttle? Is that operating at less than normal capacity?
Canaan's a little, I believe, a little bit different, and I'll have to look again more closely on how there should be some, but I'll have to see if there's a minimal of much that we use, or was there a minimum in the contract? Chuck, do you recall?
don't. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
we did hear that it was going to be a lesser amount, certainly.
Okay.
Oh, okay. All right, great. Okay, does anybody else have any questions for them?
Yeah, I have a question. So because we have such a tight timeline to get this approved, and we haven't had a chance to discuss the possibility of picking up a service to clean up the flyers and the garage sale signs and things like that, how do we handle that going forward? Let's say we have a discussion in our next meeting, we would like to add a service like that. How do we change our budget or add it to our budget if it already gets approved? Does it have to wait a year?
This is Chuck Alvarez. In that type of situation, I think we would have to look at whether or not we have the authority to provide that kind of service. It seems like that would be an expansion of the services that we're providing in Oak Park. So we may need to discuss that with LAFCO and whether or not we have the power to do that, or whether that's a latent power. So there's more involved than just how we're going to pay for it.
Right. I know that and I'm sorry Jan can't get on, but I know that our Public Works Department, our Transportation Department will remove signs in the public right-of-way. That is not an additional cost. If you want to do more than that, then that would be something to consider. But our Transportation Department does that everywhere, not just in Oak Park.
But how often do they come through the neighborhoods? Because like, for example, those flyers that people were complaining about the lost cat that was up all over Oak Park for 3 weeks. I pulled them down, nobody else did. So I don't believe that Public Works was actually scanning for things like that, unless they do it monthly. And I just missed the.
And also when there are complaints, they'll go out too. But that it's just a general service, but probably not to the, as fast as you all would like.
So do we have to put in a request for signs to be removed, or what's the process?
Yeah, that is a good move, is to let them know about it, and then they can take a special trip if it's works on their schedule. It just, it's not considered an emergency if they've got other things that are a higher priority, but in general, they will go out and take signs off of public right-of-way, which is, the areas that the county oversees.
Dave Fleisch might be a good person to invite to the next MAC meeting to maybe explain what that process might be.
That would be great.
Okay.
Yeah, he's a director of roads and transportation.
We can follow up and see how do they determine when they can go out and do it, but they do it.
Okay, I had a question on landscaping costs. I noticed for fiscal year 20, let me see, under landscape repair, remediation, emergency work, only shows 55,791. And I guess that's up to now. But year end is 184, but we're requesting more for next year. We're going up to 210. Why is that?
Well, those were actual expenses. And the reason that we budget more than our anticipated expenses is to handle things like the Woolsey fire. Had we not had money in the budget to do emergency repairs, we would not have been able to get those repairs done as quickly and efficiently as we did. Essentially, what we did is we had the money on hand to be able to fund those repairs in advance. And we had the luxury of being able to wait for FEMA to reimburse us those funds that were expended.
So our fiscal year, is it ends in December, our fiscal year?
No, it ends June 30th.
Okay, so that's what you're saying we only spent 55,000, but we're going to spend up to about 184,000, you're saying, by the year end?
No, what had occurred is for the estimated budget, that is what we turned in what we call our APO9, our third quarter projection. Therefore, it was officially on the record. So I just inserted what we had projected. The expenses, I believe, were significantly less. I can give you what I could also send to the MAC is a year end of how you did for the year end of 2020.
Okay.
So basically, I would say your budget was really $205,000 with the landscape repair plus the additional with the 55,000 plus. I understood we had a couple more repairs regarding some additional damage we had discovered. It is probably roughly around maybe 200,000. But what I'll do is I'll update it, so send you a year end to show you how your budget did.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Then Seema, did you want to hear from Chuck on the street lighting?
Yeah, but is that related to the budget though?
Well, it's on the utilities for
Yeah.
the budget.
Oh, Chuck, yeah, my question earlier was about the LED retrofit. Was that project completed then in Oak Park?
Yes, the project was completed in early August. So what's happening now is we had a meeting with Southern California Edison around the second week of August. And we gave them a list of all the concerns that residents had about particular lighting issues. So Edison is in the process of going through and analyzing these situations and determining whether or not glare shields will be installed. I'm hearing anecdotal news from some of the residents that glare shields have in fact been installed. And I really appreciate getting that feedback from the residents, because Southern California Edison does not notify me when they're going to do the work or when the work's completed. So they'll give me a report at the end of the process, but there's no interim reporting. So, but I have heard from some residents that the glare shields are being installed, and they're generally very happy with the results.
Oh, Chuck, can you send me through Jan some addresses? I would like to go see where these shields are and what difference they made.
Of course. Yes, of course.
Okay, so then if we're going to
Yeah,
have
same here. This is Alon. I also want those addresses. I'd like to see what those shields look like.
So Chuck, if we're going to see savings now, why is our budget more for the street lighting?
The primary reason for doing the streetlight upgrade was not to save money. That was certainly an element of it. But the savings is not going to be dramatic. We're talking in the maybe tens of thousands of dollars countywide. There was additional reasons to do it, namely the energy savings that would accrue. The county has energy saving goals, and this helps them reach those goals. It's also the right thing to do from the standpoint of the LED lighting is more efficient. It's more dark. It is dark sky compliant, which means ultimately we'll have less light pollution. So there are other reasons besides just the pure financial savings from electricity.
Okay. All right. Thank you. MAC members, any other questions on the budget? Okay.
No.
Nope. So Supervisor, do we make a motion then to approve the budget? Vanice, do you know, do we?
The
But
recommendation.
yes, we should.
It is.
Yes.
It is.
We do need to.
Yes, and it would be to recommend approval, not to approve it, right?
Okay. Someone like to make a motion? Okay, I'll make the motion. I make a motion to recommend that we recommend the budget as it stands. Nobody wants to second it?
Sure, I'll second it.
Okay,
Okay,
I'll do roll call. Seema Chandra,
yes.
Alon Glickstein,
Yes.
JL Diaz,
Yes.
Jane Nye,
Yes.
Okay, great. We went ahead and recommended the approval of the budget. I think that was our main goal today. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, County Real Estate Services for coming on today. And I guess we have one more matter now, And that's the property owner request for removal of 3 pine trees along Hawthorne Street. One
I'll
quick
be
thing.
handling.
One thing though, Venice, I understand we have somebody who wants to make a comment update on the trash cans.
Yeah, this was probably meant for public comments, but I think he just came in a little late. So if you wanna,
Should we let him on now?
yeah, I can ask him to unmute. I've asked him to unmute.
Okay, if you guys don't mind, we'll just let William Liu is here to give us a
Yeah.
comment.
Yes, William coming. Hold on.
Okay. All right, you're on. Thank you for joining us. And you wanted to give us an update?
William. Yes. Hold on. Can we share screen? Share our proposal.
Yes. One moment. I'm getting there.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Oops. Wait a minute. Share the screen.
Okay.
Time.
Okay. Let's start. Okay. Can you see it?
Yes.
Time.
Yes, we can see it.
I just want to follow my proposal to add trash cans on Cannon Road as submitted on February 25th, 2020 MAC meeting. What's your decision? What's the next step?
Okay. All right. Well, we did add trash cans. Jane, do you want
No, we did not add trash cans. So this is Jane Nye.
add more trash
William.
cans. Okay.
Yeah, so William, I worked with Elisa McCulloch at the Water and Sanitation Department of the Public Works Department in Ventura County. She's an environmental resource analyst, and I did a trash audit along the 3 miles from Lindero to Deer Hill on Canaan, and I documented how much trash for the month of August, which is what Ventura County had requested before they add trash cans. What I found, William, was that a lot of the trash was thrown from cars, and we're not sure that the trash cans would help eliminate the trash on Canaan. So what we've talked about before you came on to the meeting was that we would bring this up as another topic. So I can send you the information and all my data that I accumulated, and I took photographs and documented all the trash for the month of August. I went twice a week on 3 miles from Lindero to Deer Hill and picked up all the trash twice a week and documented it, cataloged it. And that's why I also contacted Ian Bradley at the Acorn, and that's why he did the article about what you had recommended. I think what you did as a grassroots effort was tremendous, and that's what we'd like all residents in Oak Park to do. So we have a couple of options. We can add 4 trash cans like you recommended. We're not sure that's going to make a difference. The trash, when I went and walked the locations, I found trash right next to the trash cans that weren't put in the trash cans. I also found a lot of trash that was discarded from cars, so that wouldn't be put in the trash cans automatically. We can add the trash cans. We're not sure that'll solve the trash problem. Or another option is for the to use the transportation's Adopt a Road program. And Oak Park Unified School District is looking at doing that program that's part of Ventura County. That would put a sign up on Canaan, and it would have the Oak Park Unified School District participate and put people out on the street picking up trash. So we could do one or the other or both. And we talked about bringing that up as another topic at the next meeting. So we have taken action. We have done an audit. We have to make a decision on what we want to do as the next step. And I think Ventura County Public Works Department is open to our suggestion, whichever decision we make. They're looking towards the MAC to help make a recommendation.
Okay. Thank you, Jane, for that update.
Actually, when we pick up trash, William and I pick up trash, most of the dog poop is from the people, not thrown by cars. Based on lower the voice. So we don't think. I think 40% of the trash of the dog poop. So they're
No. Well, I'm just telling you, I did the audit in the month of August. I walked those 3 miles from Lindero to Deer Hill twice a week, every week in the month of August. And the amount of dog poop was very small. I have dogs myself. I picked up the dog poop that wasn't in bags, and there was only 1 or 2 bags of discarded dog poop in the month of August when I walked that 3-mile strip. So it's certainly not 40%. I'd say it's a very small amount.
Okay.
I do have a full spreadsheet that lists out and photographs of all the trash that it was picked up. So I have it documented and I can forward it to you. I do have your email. So I've submitted it to Ventura County Sanitation Department. So I do have a record of the amount of and types of trash that I picked up.
Okay.
Thank you, Jean, for doing all those detail works.
Well, your son was such an inspiration. I thought it was so wonderful that he that we have a young student that cares about our community and started this whole effort. And I wanted to be able to add those trash cans for his recommendation, but the sanitation department wouldn't do it without an audit. So the only way we could convince them to add trash cans was to document how much trash there was. So I think they're open to adding those trash cans per William's request. I think the MAC needs to discuss it and make sure it's the right thing, because I think I believe the majority of the trash comes from cars, items thrown out from cars. And I think it's also an opportunity for us to have residents help out with the Adopt a Road program. So I think we could potentially do both, add trash cans and have residents help pick up the trash. I think your son has been an inspiration.
Thank you.
I'd also like to just comment that Jane has just gone so above and beyond anything I've ever seen in trying to move this forward. I really want to thank you for doing that. I mean, who out there wants to do trash audits, right? But you were motivated and just so appreciative that you did do that. So thank you, Jane. And thank you, William, for coming up with a great idea.
Yeah, William had another class right now, so I keep going on update the water lily grows. The last meeting, we proposed grow water lily in the duck pond.
Oh.
Actually, Media Creek, yeah, that's the next. Jasmine, also my daughter, she involved the project. She will help William to update the how the water lily grow in the duck pond.
Okay.
So I followed up on that as well. So did you not get the email from Jan Osterhaven? We followed up, and Wayne Nakaota from Rancho Simi Recreation and Park District responded. Did you get that information?
Yeah, we did. Actually, if you see the page 4, the water lily already blooming in the duck pond.
Oh, so Jane.
Yeah, we can show you how we did and how good the water lily grows.
Oh, so do you have
Jasmine will show you.
Okay, so
on this one? Or
Oh, beautiful.
Oh, so they're growing already. That's
yeah,
really good.
so we started with day 5. We took a picture on day 5, and like you can see like the sprouts. And then on day 10 they like grew a lot, and then day 37, that's when we planted it in. I was there with the directors from the school district and also the Rancho Simi Park. We all planted it in there, like, and then day 16, as you can see, like they grew a lot bigger, and then day 7 even bigger. And there was also like you can see a flower, like a little water lily flower there.
Oh, yes.
Day 80 right now. That's what they look like right now. And you can see a little bit of yellow, but we can like always take them out.
But yeah.
So I've got a question. So when they dredge that pond, what are your plans with the water lilies? Can they be put in a container and then added back in?
Will you repeat that again? So
I think my understanding at the pond that they plan to clean it out and put the filters in.
oh yeah, so yeah, for sure. So you can actually put them in containers, like yeah, so before we like put them in a container, but I think we need to put dirt once like they grow out that much. But we'll probably get like a bigger container and then put like a little bit of soil under and then put water and then just put them back in.
Perfect. What a success story. Thank you so much. Exciting.
I'd love to go see these growing in the pond. Would you be able to show us sometime?
Yeah, sure. So the pictures, there's my brother on top, like cleaning out the algae and stuff. And then there's me making the chicken wire a little bit bigger so that they have more space to grow. So as soon as the water lilies reached the bottom of the pond, they grew about like 1 foot every 10 days this summer. So they had a lot of growth, and they were covering unclean water and limited the algae growth. So by blocking out the sunlight, so that it's good because like there was a lot of algae in the pond before. And then the water lilies attracted the dragonflies and frogs that weren't there before. So there's like a lot more like animals coming in. And student volunteers like me would be taking care of them and have a good opportunity for us to serve community and gain service hours. So this is our proposal for like, it's like I wanted to ask, can we like grow water lilies in other ponds to like improve other ponds too? Because this one is a success, as you can see. So.
Do we have?
I have a question. When you said service hours, what is that for? Is that for service hours for school?
Yeah, for school. And I'm also like trying to make this a project for school. Like I was thinking of maybe putting it in gardening club or like maybe even FBLA because there's some things that we can do for that.
Jasmine,
Okay.
what grade are you in?
I'm a sophomore at Oak Park High School.
Okay, great.
So that service hours program that you have, can we use that for, and I'm just asking this because I don't know. Can we use that for like picking trash in Canaan?
Yeah, I think so. Well, that might be a different thing because for gardening club, that's like, planting things. So I'm not sure about
I see.
trash. And then like for FBLA, I'll have to like ask again, like research a little bit more, but there might be something about picking up trash too.
Yeah, I think that's, we were looking at the high school participating in the Transportation's Adopt a Road program, JL. So they may be two different projects, but I think both would probably satisfy service requirements for the high school. Yeah,
Yes.
or
maybe the middle school as well. I'm not sure.
Back to Jasmine's question about doing it in other ponds. Do we have any other ponds? I mean, we have a lot of creeks in Oak Park, but
yeah, and Rancho Simi said that they did not want to do this project in the creek, in Medea Creek. It wasn't appropriate, but the lagoon or the pond, I think we only have one, Jasmine, but are you asking whether other communities outside of Oak Park?
Yeah, outside of Oak Park.
Right.
So
I know that the only concern is that they are non-native, so they have to be in places that don't spread to nature. So that's why the pond is kind of, isolated, and why you can't put it in the creek. But there also might be ponds. You look at like the Canal Rec and Park District has the park behind the library that has separate little ponds. Those kind of areas may be able to do that in. And that's what I would probably look at, would be the city park districts might be a way to go. Or private, if there's hotels and things like that that have their own little separated ponds, golf courses.
Okay. All right. All right, great. Thank you, Jasmine and William and your mother for coming on and giving us an update on the lilies. And we really appreciate it.
Mhm. Thank
Okay.
you.
Thank you. Fabulous job. Very impressive.
Thanks.
Okay, let's move on to our final item, advisory matter B, about the property owner behind Hawthorne, I guess, about 3 pine trees that he wants removed. So is that, who's,
Real estate. Yeah, hi, this is Valerie from Real Estate Services. So our office received a request to remove 3 pine trees on Hawthorne Street in Oak Park. The property owners have several concerns with keeping the pine trees. Since we've entered fire season, the roots are causing damages to the wall, and they also mentioned they might not be covered by their homeowner's insurance due to the potential fire hazard those trees impose. So our office wanted to notify the MAC about this request before involving risk management, and also because we don't have a policy in place for addressing these requests. I also just wanted to say that the property owners are really concerned about those trees, and they would like us to further look into their request.
So how is this a fire danger? I don't understand how the roots are a fire danger.
They say that they're very dry and there's so many pine needles.
But that's going to be the case with all the pine trees in Oak Park.
I think that's across all of Canaan, especially near Oak Hills Elementary School. I mean, there's tremendous amount of needles on the sidewalk and pine cones. It just seems that it's the type of tree that's been planted all along Canaan.
Right, and we did notify Enhanced Landscape about the request. They did say that we're experiencing pine needle plumes everywhere due to the heat. Since it's getting so hot, there's a lot of pine trees shedding their needles. But the property owners are concerned because of the fire season, but also because they mentioned the roots are causing damages to their wall.
To their back fence? To
the back fence.
So have we gone out to see that to confirm that there's damage?
Do you have pictures?
Pictures I don't have of that wall.
I'm willing to go take a look with somebody if someone wants to come with me.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, because I'm concerned that, I understand their requirements, but once we do pay for that, then we set a precedent too, right? And
well, it's not that we're worried about human accidents happening. So we're talking about property damage and fire risk. But I think if we think about those 3 trees, we have to look at all of the trees on Canaan. I mean, literally, it's full of pine trees.
Right.
Right. And will the cost for this come out of just our, like extra money we have in the budget under the landscape emergency money?
It would be under the extra services with Enhanced Landscape.
And do you have a price idea on this? How much it would cost?
For this one, I haven't sent a request to remove the tree because we first wanted to involve the MAC and
well, I think it would also be good to figure out with Enhanced Landscape whether they can do something like additional services to pick up the pine needles and the pine cones. I mean, we're seeing it is a walking hazard on the street, on the sidewalk. I mean, the pine needles are very slippery, and the pine cones are in the way of any bicyclist as well, student bicyclists.
Yeah, and I have received several requests about the pine needles being on Hawthorne, so that we can give a call to Enhance regarding that. And see.
So Seema, remember when you did a walkthrough with Enhanced?
Yep.
I think it might be worth another walkthrough.
Yes. Yeah, I'm willing to do one with Greg of Enhanced Landscaping. If you, and I know one of you from the county would come. Last time you came, right, Valeria?
Yeah, so, I did. I joined.
I know Janice would probably be interested in it too.
I was going to say, isn't she on the landscape committee?
Yeah, that's right.
She is.
So if you want to set that up for us, I'd be, this time we won't go in one car. We can meet at the location and have,
Yeah.
and enhanced landscaping, maybe explain the problem and try to think of some solutions before we approve this 3 trees. Because I'm just thinking, like Jane says, they're all over Oak Park.
Yeah.
This is Chuck Alvarez. Just for clarification purposes, we don't need MAC approval for the removal of these 3 trees. All we have to hear is that it's a hazard, and we have the authority to immediately remove them. The reason that we're coming to the MAC with this is because we anticipate getting more such requests. We've already gotten 1 claim filed with the county's risk management about 3 other pine trees at another location in Oak Park. And they actually went through the formal claims process, which is the next step before you file a lawsuit. So our risk management department is trying to work that particular situation out. But the unique thing with that we're hearing right now is from insurance companies that they're telling property owners they will not insure their properties if there's certain trees in close proximity to their homes. I talked with Greg Epstein earlier today. He says he's getting he's hearing the same type of thing from some of the homeowners association he represents, as well as some private property owners. So this is happening right now. This is going to be a bigger thing as we're heading into fire season. So that's why we're looking for a policy. We don't want to suddenly have 5 or 6 of these requests for trees to be removed, and suddenly we're removing 15 trees. We want to make sure the MAC understands the county's liability in these situations, and that we expect more of these situations to come up, not less.
So Chuck, are you familiar with what just recently happened with the ash tree in May Boyer Park? So 500 residents, so Rancho Simi Park District wanted to remove the tree. They already had a lawsuit with a child getting injured, tripping over the roots. They wanted to remove the tree, and 500 residents signed a petition to keep the tree and remove the play area. So I just think we have to, in Oak Park, have to be fairly consistent on our tree policy.
And that's what we're looking to the MAC for. We wanted to make you aware that this situation, we're seeing this happen now. We've gotten 1 claim already. We've got another property owner that reached out complaining about the trees and the damage, and that their insurance company is threatening not to insure their property if those trees are not removed. So expect to hear more.
So Chuck, this request, is the county paying for it, or is it coming out of the Oak Park budget?
It comes out of Oak Park Max. It comes out of the Oak Park budget.
Yep.
Okay.
This is kind of a bigger thing than these few trees here. So
it could potentially be. We don't know how big it is at this point. We're just hearing it out in the community now. Like I said, Greg Epstein and I talked today, and he's heard about it come up in other areas in the community as well.
I'm the homeowner of these trees here.
Oh,
so
Arlene.
Listening in,
Hi.
if I can interrupt for a minute. I've been speaking with Valeria, and she's been very helpful in presenting my case. The issue is the pine needles, but that's not my greatest issue, although they are annoying. It's the, as far as I'm concerned, off of Hawthorne, I'm the only homeowner that has 3 of these trees in their backyard. I had 4, but I believe 1 was removed because Pac Bell wanted to put their phone connector, what have you there. So I did have 4. So I'm the only homeowner that has more than enough trees. My insurance company is, the complaint is one of the trees was singed, the top of it was singed in the fires of 2 years ago. So, and that, they're huge trees, although that part of it, I guess, would hang over on the city property, but the other side of the tree hangs over my backyard. So it's endangering everything around me because I have so many of them. Because I have 3 of them, the middle tree was singed. So if those went on to the other trees, that are overlapping these trees, that's a big hazard to our safety and my family's safety and my neighbor's safety. So I'm not just one of those neighbors. I understand that people complain about these pine trees, but mine's not just one of those that are complaining about the pine trees. I have a bigger issue at hand. I also have a tree in my front yard, should we say, that I will be removing. And I want all these big trees removed, that they're a hazard. And my insurance company is threatening, because of the fires, that they are a fire hazard. So just cutting them back does no good. They're huge.
Okay. All right. Thank you for giving us an update, Arlene. So MAC members, anybody, do we need to make a decision today then? Or this looks like Chuck.
I don't have we don't have any visuals on it, right? Can we look at some pictures, or can you send some pictures, Arlene?
I can provide that.
Okay.
Okay, Valeria.
If you like.
Okay.
I wanted to add just one minor thing, which it's probably all the pine trees are this way, but because it ends up in my backyard, they have huge pine cones that fall from them. And that to me also is a hazard, because I have very young grandchildren that are, we try and spend time in the backyard. So those fall as well. That's
okay. Hey, Arlene, so your renewal for the insurance, it's not due yet, right? You still have time to...
I do have time. I just, okay. I don't want to be canceled, which...
No, we don't want that. That's why, no, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
so
the pine cone issue, I understand is dangerous, but we could probably maybe help with pruning back the tree on your side of the fence, of Arlene's side of the fence. But I think the bigger issue is the fire danger that you're saying, and the insurance.
And the damages to the wall.
And the wall.
Right.
Alon, do you have anything to say about this?
No, I think you guys all hit it right on the head. I agree with Jane that it's an Oak Park issue. It's not one single occurrence. We're probably going to have many people complain. I think we need to look at the bigger picture. Secondly, I also don't have pictures. I'm not familiar with what she's talking about. I'd like to see what she's talking about. Plus, we really, if this is getting into insurances, not being able to insure homes, I think it's almost an answer for the county's attorney to see whether or not we should have a role in even dealing with this, because I know there are certain areas that insurance companies won't insure certain homes because of the fires, yet you can still go to the state fund insurance, I think, or some other, something like that, and they have to insure every homeowner. And, they may not insure you for everything that you want, but you're definitely able to get insurance. So I know that there's options, and, but it's a legal matter to me, besides all that. So, and then because Chuck said he's getting other calls, I think a policy needs to be in place. So we have to really talk about this more. It's not something I think we can just decide here to remove 3 trees. That's just my comment on this. So, but definitely pictures to get things going.
Yes. Yeah, I think you're right. We need to see some more pictures. And I think, Alon, you have a good point. Chuck, is there some, county legal advice we can get on this too, about what the county's legal needs are here?
Well, given the fact that we've already received one formal claim, risk management, if they hear of other situations like that, are probably going to tell us to remove the trees to avoid potential litigation. It's cheaper to remove trees than to litigate something. So risk management's pretty risk averse, as you can imagine. So if we go to them and we tell them, remember that claim that you just got? Well, we've got another property owner who's in a similar situation. They're going to tell us to remove the trees.
Okay, so can I go take a look at this soon then? Maybe like next week?
Yeah, we can hold off because we have to get a proposal anyway from Enhanced Landscaping. So you guys do have time to go out and look at the situation before the trees are removed.
Okay, but in the meantime, you're gonna ask also enhanced for some quotes, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, we are.
Yeah, I think it's important also to know how much this will cost. Even if the county directs, if there's a claim where the county directs to remove the trees, and we have to pay for it, then we need to know how much it is, and you know, and then we have to decide if it's going to continue or not too. So,
Yeah,
but
I think
anyways,
when
let's see what they are and see how much it really costs and how much money we're talking about. Plus,
Seema,
maybe
I
in a
think
situation like this, the homeowner can split maybe sometimes half and half if it's a lot of money because this is for their benefit. So that might be another idea.
So Seema, I think when you do the tour with Enhanced Landscape, you should probably scope out the future issues, you know, and not just limit it to Hawthorne, but look at what they think other risk areas are.
Okay. Yeah, go take a look at the other pine trees and other risk areas with them. Okay. So we can set that up for next week with myself and Enhanced Landscaping, and we'll let Janice know. And we can go take some pictures too and send them to the rest of the MAC board. Okay.
Thank you.
Good.
All right. So we'll continue to work on this, and it's going to take some more time to really understand this issue more. So I think that's it. That was our last item.
I was just wondering, it wasn't on the agenda, Seema, but Supervisor Parks had brought up future agenda items. Is that something we typically?
Yeah, we don't usually have that. Is supervisors here still, right?
Yes.
Yes, I'm still here.
So what did you mean by future agenda items, Supervisor?
Well, there is a list of a couple of things that you may want to consider for your next agenda. Let's see if I can pull those up again.
Oh, one was the surveillance cameras that Alon and Janice want us to discuss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that could
About
be
the
a future
camera,
agenda item. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was just Janice's idea in an email, and she just asked me if this sounds like a good idea, and I said yes. Why? It should. Let's discuss it. I don't know, not really.
Yeah.
I didn't spend more than a second thinking about it, But if it's for public safety and it's something that we should be thinking about, then by all means, we should discuss it.
But we just approved the budget. Do we have money for something like that?
Well, let me also point out that the max overview, you look at recommendations to the Board of Supervisors. And I'm a separately elected individual, on the board. The sheriff is his own department, and he's a separately elected individual. And your recommendations aren't really for the sheriff, they're for the Board of Supervisors. So that's where, you're getting into some gray areas. But I know that was mentioned, the idea of that. I don't know what the community would think about having surveillance cameras at the entryways, but it is something that you could discuss whether you like it or not. I don't know if it's anything that you can effectuate. Other items, I know we were talking about the reducing litter, so that's going to be coming back again, I think, once the staff looks at the Jane's wonderful work. And then also, as you had just pointed out, if you want to have a discussion on the removal of pine trees in CSA 4 and the rising frequency of that. So those are just upcoming for future agendas as we proceed. And I really appreciate the flexibility. You guys put this MAC and Jan and Venice put this MAC meeting together pretty quickly. With COVID, we have just been saying when there is an item that we need to have come before us, that's time sensitive, then we'll have a MAC meeting. So when we have that kind of item, we have other agenda items we can add to it, like the policy on trees, or if you want to discuss cameras, which again, I don't think we have the authority on, and the litter, we can add those.
Okay.
I have one more also, potentially to have a future agenda item on the pure water project and have some of the engineers come and speak to us. It affects Oak Park water. So I think it might be something we could put on a future agenda as well.
Right. We could have TSD do a presentation.
Okay, yeah, I think that would be great. I think Jan is listening, so we can get some of these added for future. Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. And I don't know, Supervisor, whether we're going to have an October meeting, but I think Jan indicated we might have a MAC meeting in October.
Yeah, and again, that it's dependent on what we want to make sure that there are items that need to be discussed and all. So it depends on what's needed to be discussed. I'll let Jan get back to you on that.
Okay. All right. Okay, everybody. I'm going to adjourn the meeting. Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Bye, Seema.
Bye, Denise. Thank you.